It being 7 o'clock, I'll call the select board meeting to order for Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Is anyone here for public comment? Step forward. If you could just state your name and addresses.
Lauren Nanoff, we're representing 138 and 142 High Street in Clinton.
Chris Nanoff, same address, 138, 142 High Street, the Fountain Confections.
Okay.
Appreciate your time. Sorry if I'm looking down at my phone. I just got some notes on here.
Sure.
So we're the owners of the Fountain, 138, 142 High Street. It's the candy store that opened on June 16th and the soda shop ice cream store that opened October 10th. Since opening, I just want to say the support we've received from the town, its residents and all of the people is literally blown us away and exceeded all of our wildest dreams. So thank you for that. Last select board meeting, we heard from the Community Economic Development Committee. We can't echo loud enough how much High Street is thriving. It's changed. On average, we're seeing 250 to 300 people in our store per day.
Mm-hmm.
If you count Saturdays and Sundays, 500 plus people per day. And that's based on our statistics from checks completed, number of items per check. So it is an average. Sometimes it far exceeds that. Sometimes it's lower than that, but that is the average that we're seeing. And nothing really can make us any happier than when we hear our customers walk in the door and they say, we just left Sunshine and we just left Sunrise and we had to come down and get an ice cream. Or we just finished a haircut at Palace or Studio Georgia and we've got to stop in and get a sweet treat. And that's what we were really hoping for when we built the Fountain, was to create something where it generates more and more foot traffic throughout all of the businesses on High Street. That being said, and while we're here, we can't help but think what's next, right? We are continuing to grow. Our business will only grow as the rest of the businesses on High Street grow, and vice versa. The constant question we keep getting from people is, hey, when I'm coming from out of town or residents, where do I live? Obvious answer is any of the spots right in front of us on High Street, right? It's not the obvious answer that we've kind of seen as a challenge for our business. We're literally there from 7 in the morning until 9 at night, 7 days a week. And if you're not there, you probably aren't seeing all of the traffic, all of the foot traffic, all of the parking, some of the parking that's there all day. I understand that we're working to alleviate a little bit of that through different programs and things. But the real purpose of us being here today is to say, we've read the parking study. We've looked at all of the new signage that's going up all over town. In part of that parking study, there was a memo or a note that a parking committee was going to be created. And it should be created with the heavy hitters on High Street, the ones that are there all day, the ones that are seeing everything all day, so we can provide input. And at the end of the day, my ask is there a committee? What is being done? And how can Lauren and I be a part of that and help as business owners on High Street? Because again, the more that we thrive, the more our partners thrive, the more other people are willing to come into town. And that's all we want. I want to see every single place on High Street full of businesses where we're feeding off of each other. So as a business owner, that's what I wanted to just make a quick public comment about. Things are going really well. Things are great. Town's supportive. Just wanted to go in that one extra step. I understand it's a comment and it's not necessarily interaction, but if there's an opportunity for us to continue the conversation, whoever that would be with, I'm raising my hand to do that.
Great. Thank you so much. I don't know the answers to your questions right now, but maybe we could follow up offline with some additional information for you and go from there.
Would love to.
We just want to let it be known that we're here as a resource and
Yeah.
outlet. So if anything is formed afterwards, to just please keep us in mind, and we're happy to make that link between other businesses around us that might not have the time or have put in the time, are now frustrated. And it's a revolving cycle. It's the age-old discussion here. So we're willing to do that. And I wear a different hat being the president of the Clinton Area Chamber of Commerce. We're also willing to put in the time to do that. So please don't forget that we're here.
All right. Thank you so much.
You can only count my kids as one time a day. Like
No.
it's not
Twice.
visits.
I hate to rat anyone.
Add
Wait the week twice a day.
Adding your books.
I know.
All right. Thank you.
I think
You're good. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and congratulations.
I know.
2017.
Is anyone else here for public comment? Okay, we'll move on. Review of minutes for March 5th, 2025.
So just a quick question on the review of minutes. So
Sure.
are we, with the approval of these minutes, are these minutes going to be released for the executive session? For the fire union grievance? No. Okay. Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 5th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Okay, next up, we have a Class 2 license change hearing. A second. The Select Board's received an application for change of ownership for a Class 2 dealer license from Catalino Mateo, doing business as FM Auto Body Collision, to Priority Used Autos LLC with Catalino Mateo, and then the addition of Stephen Pryor as part principal of the new corporation on the premises located at 60 Water Street in Clinton. Is anyone here from that? Okay, come on up. Hi,
Thank you.
I'm sure you're the people referenced, but could you state your names and your addresses, please?
Yes, my name is Carolina Mateo. That's 60 Water Street. I'm the
Okay.
owner of the FM Auto Body Collision.
Okay.
My name's Steve Pryor, 60 Water Street. I actually own the property.
And this is just a change in ownership hearing, correct?
Yeah, it's a struggle with Catalina under the FM Collision name to sell a couple of cars. It's a small license.
Okay.
I'm just helping them out.
Okay. Since this is a hearing, I'll open it up to anyone who is here to speak in support of this this license, this applications for a license change. I'll close the portion of that hearing. Is anyone here to speak in opposition? I'll close the portion of that hearing. Any questions? No? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the Class 2 license change of ownership at 60 Water Street, currently under FM Auto Body Collision, to Priority Used Autos LLC.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? 5-0. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Next, we have a livery license public hearing. The Select Board has received an application for livery license from Anton Peterson, Alves de Paula, doing business as ADP Transporting LLC, to operate a livery taxi business from 157 Green Street in Clinton. Is anyone here for this?
Yeah, Madam
License?
Chair, we don't believe we see anyone from that corporation
Okay.
here. They didn't show up the last hearing.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of outreaches to them since, with no response. So we kept it on in case they replied. They have not. So we're
Okay.
going to hold off on putting this back on the agenda until we get confirmation from the applicant.
Okay,
All right,
sounds
thank you.
good. Thank you. All right, next up, we have Chris Epstein to give us some information about Clinton Earth Day Town Cleanup. You state your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Chris Epstein from the Clinton Greenway Conservation Trust. I guess it didn't really occur to me to run this by you, but because Angela was here and put it together for the last several years, but we've been doing this annual cleanup. It's thinking about Earth Day, thinking about spring cleanups, and I put that this is sponsored by the Clinton Greenway Conservation Trust and the town of Clinton. So we need your buy-in, I guess officially, just to acknowledge that this is something that the town supports. And the DPW has always been really supportive of, Angela had it organized so that we would, have trash in like certain pickup spots in town. So it was convenient for them to just run around town on Saturday morning and take care of it so that we don't have additional trash added to the trash, which sometimes happens. Like extra tires show up, extra, whatever.
Yeah.
So they like to just take care of it that morning. And so that's the plan. Again, I went down and spoke with them
You did, okay.
already and
Great.
so
Great.
Madam
I'm
Chair,
just looking for approval, I guess, from the.
Oh.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to support the Clinton Greenway Conservation Trust cleanup for Clinton Earth Day on April 26, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do you,
Sure.
do you want to get a plug in? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you want to get a
We
plug
could
in or do that after, I guess we'll vote and then get a plug in to let people know what's happening?
Sure.
Yeah, okay,
Oh.
let's vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, 5-0. So Earth Day cleanup is April 26th from 9 AM to 12:30 PM.
We've met.
Met,
Are you meeting over there still?
yeah,
Right, at town hall.
Okay.
At the doors.
okay.
Yep.
Meet at 9 AM at the town hall to get started. And then there will be a meetup at the Strong Street Brewery to celebrate a cleaner Clinton after that.
Is that a Saturday?
Yeah, I made that.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is. Is that a Saturday, Chris?
I'm sorry?
Is it a Saturday?
It is a Saturday.
Saturday.
It is a Saturday.
All right. Keep Clinton clean, friends. Hope we get a big turnout. All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we have a Wheat Community Center site setup plan. Representative from Mazziello Construction here to answer any questions that we have about the site setup plan for the project. Come on up.
Handouts if anyone hasn't seen them.
Sure, that'd be great.
Bigger version.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you just state your name?
Yep, my name's Gregory Dumas. I represent RP Masiello with a construction management firm working for United Way. So basically, we're getting ready to start construction. I did meet with Chief Foyne and Superintendent Bartlett and went over the plan. And the construction, if you see in the front here along High Street, these parking spots here, that's what we're looking for in that sidewalk. This new proposed structure, which we do have the permit for, it basically comes right up to the sidewalk. But as I don't know how many people remember the old Mr. C's Pizza. When that came down, they left that foundation basically there to hold back the sidewalk area. So we have to take that sidewalk out and rebuild a footing and shoring so that it doesn't come collapsing back into the building. So in order to do that, we'd have to take these spaces and work from this way towards the back of the building. So it's the only way we can really construct it. And it's more about safety as well, with people coming that close to the front of the building to align with that sidewalk. So we're proposing to rent those 5 parking spaces and either take pedestrian foot traffic from Ring Street across the sidewalk and then across and back around. I don't know how much foot traffic's really there. I've been there doing some borings and some excavation before construction was finalized of the plan. But we're just trying to alleviate any people walking through during construction. And that's about a 13-month all-in schedule. I don't know another way of really doing pedestrian traffic through there. We'll have lanes and excavators to get up into that spot. I don't know if you remember, but we did do some borings in those parking spaces there. And there's big granite foundations still in there that we need to take those out and rebuild it for structural purposes.
You said 13 months?
About 13 months, yeah. So I'm sure you saw the drawings and stuff for the building already.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no other really way to construct it. That's why we did so many drawings with feedback again. Because when you dug from the back side of the building towards the front, you can see, and I can show you some pictures at some point if anyone's interested, the old foundation of the previous building that was left there. And it kind of just caved it in and backfilled it. So kind of tied our hands up of what we can do in that space.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Chairman, just, looking at the adjacent building right down there, right next to it, where Papcolis is,
Yep.
you know where it is. Now, that slope is so deep on, how are you gonna like secure that building when you're doing the construction? I mean,
Yeah.
is there,
Yep, it's called shoring.
Yeah.
And you basically you could probably seen it if you go into the cities or in Worcester. What they do is it's like metal planking that's driven down,
Mhm.
and then it's supportive so the excavation doesn't fall in into their foundation doesn't come back into the
Right,
project.
right.
So that's what we're doing. We have to build beyond it,
Mhm.
which is the reasoning for the parking spaces and the sidewalk,
okay,
and then we work back in towards the building.
okay,
Supportive excavation is what they call it.
okay. Answers my question. Thank you.
Is there any action item on this that?
I think it would be that the board would be okay with them using that public space, the parking and the sidewalk during that construction. So they'll be closing that. I assume you're gonna be closed off during that whole period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's for public safety. There's no way to route anybody through there.
And you already said you checked with the chief and the DPW.
Yep, they're both okay. They actually directed me towards the path I came now.
Yeah.
Mr. Duffy, yep.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the request to close off the walkway in parking spaces in front of
224.
224 High Street for the period of the construction project,
Thank you.
contingent upon approval of the DPW superintendent, chief of police, and fire chief and building inspector, I would say. I know you've already talked to him, just so.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
But we'll
Oh,
just
sorry.
have one.
Go ahead.
We're gonna get the sidewalks back, right? When we're done with construction.
Yes.
That's all.
Very familiar with those sidewalks.
Okay,
Yeah.
sidewalks and the parking spaces, everything will be the same.
Be
No
right
smack.
back. Yep.
No spalling.
No saw cuts.
You
no
probably, you
saw
probably
cuts.
actually know it's falling. I'm like, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks
very
for coming
much.
in.
Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Good luck with lacrosse season this year. All right. Next on the agenda is the Clinton Real Estate Development Site Setup Plan on Main Street. Representative from New England Development was invited to attend the meeting.
Yeah, Madam Chair, the company was working through the Department of Public Works for that project. So we had asked them if they could reach out to invite someone. They weren't able to get a commitment to have anybody here tonight.
Okay.
But the superintendent of public works did send me a note saying he's been working closely with them. He's kind of signed off on the plan. They're not looking to go into the street. They're just looking to go up to the edge of the sidewalk for safety reasons when they start doing the demo. They were at the town's request, they were making sidewalks in front of AutoZone to get across the street in front of the closure, and then on over by Laurel Street further down on the other side. So they need to cap all the utilities for the water sewer there, because they're going to be running individual pipes for the different buildings that are going over there instead of just one pipe going to the whole site. So they have to cap the utilities, and then they're going to start taking down the building. So I think it was, again, as road DPW commissioners, just wanted to inform the board that this was taking place and make sure everyone was okay with it. But it is a plan that was discussed and modified and recommended by the superintendent of public works.
Okay. Do you know when that is that project is slated to begin?
I think they're looking to start pretty quickly. They don't have a exact day, but it may be as soon as next week. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we got this to the boards and to the public so people were aware of it. I believe they have erected the fence, and they're talking either next week or the week after. They're going to start doing the demo, whether they're going to cap the utilities first or the building. I'm not sure, but they'll be starting to work crews on site pretty
So
soon.
they were already doing stuff, the fence is all up.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know that they are doing some, they must be starting because it's all on the ground, so they're starting to cap stuff off, and I believe it's Kilcoyne.
Right.
Which it's nice to see a local person got the job, so,
Right.
it seems to me like they're ready to go, so.
Right.
And I did watch the planning board meeting the other night, so I think they've signed off on everything, so.
Exactly. And all the whole plan was approved by the planning board, but we just, knowing that it is going to impede on the sidewalk and the public way, we wanted to make sure the select board were involved too.
Excellent.
Thanks for that update. Next up is the town administrator's report.
Well, are we gonna vote on that? Do they need? a
Oh,
vote?
do you need to?
Sure. If you, yeah, I think that'd be good. Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion.
This is the
What?
It's not there.
Well, I'll make a motion.
Yeah, you go for it.
Yeah.
Make the motion that we approve the site plan for the new development on Main Street to start as, what is it? It's 830 to 984 Main Street.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor, or sorry, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Okay, now the town administrator report.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't have anything specific for tonight, unless there was anything the board wanted to discuss. There were a few items I had for, that we did updates last night at the budget meeting, so I was going to do those tonight, but we handled them last night. And
Okay.
some of the presenters were talking about their project updates that I was going to talk about as well too. So, yeah,
Okay.
so I think as of right now, I'm good.
Sounds good. Doesn't look to be any administrative business.
No.
Uh,
There's none at this
okay.
time.
Next up is old and new business, the annual town meeting warrant article schedule. The select board generally sets the schedule for accepting of warrant articles for the annual town meeting.
Right. So generally the board gives about a month. So I thought if this meeting would be good to get that started, because, it's good to know if there are financial impacts on the articles, to know with the select board and finance committee during budget discussions. So generally it's about a month to keep it open and inform the public if there are any citizen petitions. So.
So this would close on around April 19th. They want to submit any.
Sure, which would be good for then, so then the board could, for that meeting, that second meeting, you could get the draft. Yep, that'd be good.
Is the 9th of the holiday?
April.
That was a question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There's pagers here that we can just.
Oh,
I don't know.
2, 3, 4. Yeah, so if you
16th.
want to do the 16th, then we
Friday.
could have something
Six-
for that.
The 16th of April is Wednesday.
That's the third Wednesday. Yep,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
So,
You're meeting that night.
okay, so
Yeah.
do it 5 or something. 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Like,
4.
so
The
doing
building, yeah, I'm
4,
sorry.
okay.
Yep, the building closes at 4, so 4 o'clock would be great. I don't know if you're referencing the 5 Wednesdays in April.
That's what I was like trying to count too.
So it'll be.
Okay. Yeah. So the
Have to be in.
submissions have to be in by Wednesday, April 16th, 4 p.m.
Yep, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Next up is the review of pop-up event marketing initiative. Select Member DeVault would like to continue the discussion about the pop-up initiative.
this should be real quick. I just wanted to have the discussion one more time because I don't, unless this is something that the board is really interested in pursuing, I just, we all have limited amount of bandwidth to work on stuff. I just don't want to spend a lot of time working on something if it doesn't really have a chance of like being embraced. So I mean, no hard feelings on me from me, but I guess just if the board is inclined to kind of make a motion of I don't know, approval, endorsement, whatever you want to call it. I'd happily start working on it and come back and report to the board. But if we just feel like we would rather, we've talked with our economic development office, they've shared their opinions on the matter. They don't seem to think it's I mean, they don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't think they think it's a worthwhile endeavor. So if in the board, certainly, if that's the way that they feel, I have no hard feelings here, but, so if I just kind of wanted to have this discussion one last time, if there is no interest in kind of pursuing this, I just would rather spend my time on something that I think would have better chances at moving forward. That's all.
Can I just add
Yeah.
something to that? So I just happened to have a quick conversation with Lauren Nanoff from the Chamber of Commerce, and there is someone in town that has interest in basically running basically a pop-up initiative. So I don't know if you want to reach out to Lauren and then make that contact and come back, because it sounded like that person would do everything A to Z.
I mean, I will help this person if I'm willing to meet with them and kind of guide them in the right direction. But again, I don't really feel like taking on something right now unless it's something that the board is behind. So I wish whoever does that all the luck. In my personal life, when I'm done with select board, I'd be more than willing to help out or even see how I can assist with that. But in my capacity as selectman for the remaining few months, unless the board is kind of interested in this, I'm not really gonna spend my time on it. But I would be willing I'll talk to Lauren and I will talk to that person and try to guide them and help them as much as I can.
I would be in favor of that. I have just, my concerns are, given the time commitment for, the bandwidth of the staff or consultant, just is there like a good return on investment? I don't know if and my question would be, what might be set aside to push this initiative through? Are there other things that might not happen with it? So those were kind of my open-ended questions about it. So wouldn't say that's an endorsement, but probably maybe like a good idea that might not be good at this time, or like we've said, I don't know if the municipality is the right place to drive it. If there's a private citizen who like assistance, maybe that's the best route.
Are you gonna run it yourself? Like, what are you looking to do?
Just doesn't want
This
to.
is up to you guys. This is a rare occasion where I'm not gonna try to convince anybody. It's whatever the board, it's like totally up to the board. I mean, we had the discussion at the last meeting. I think everyone knows where I stand on it. I think they know where the Department of Economic Development stands on it. So, yeah, it's if this isn't something that is like agreed upon by the board that we think it's all a good idea, I just, with all due respect to the board, I just don't want to waste my few remaining months working on something that isn't really a priority for the board. That's all.
I guess I'm of the mind that I think it would stand a better chance of survival if there was someone who was more rooted than one of us, just because our time on this board isn't guaranteed. I mean, I guess I look at it as like a public-private partnership, but that we would need the private before the public. But we're not interested in reaching out to this person who's thinking about it.
I mean, if, I would
I
have
mean,
no
we
problem doing it if Mr. Dewalt doesn't, if, you know, if he's unsure.
I have no problem doing it. I just know it's a lot of work and.
Yeah, I'm not, I
Um,
don't have any problem reaching out to them and kind of getting them started, giving them some guidance, answering some questions, but I'm not, this isn't something that's gonna be consuming.
I think the person has,
That's all. I'm more worried about you, frankly, just because like it's a really hard job and you're wrangling cats. Like it's a,
listen, if somebody's willing to do it, then
I
I
think
think
that's
just have the
fantastic.
conversation. I don't know why we have to sit here and discuss like how difficult it is. If someone is willing to do it and they're already in that universe, then you have a conversation. And if it's something that we can kind of like bridge, like, okay, like the Chamber of Commerce can assist the person and they want to kind of do like a matchstick 2.0, then great. And if they can't or they don't, and the board doesn't feel that it's, you know, an endeavor that we want to support at this time, then that's fine too. But at least it's a phone call. I don't think we have to kind of start planning ahead on the potential pitfalls of it.
my apologies. I was more thinking in terms of Mr. DeVault's last few months on the board.
If we want to do it, I can find the time. I'm just, like I said, I'm not gonna like waste hours a week and then come back here and there not be like much support. I mean, the intent of me bringing this up is to get some involvement from the economic development office. And that just doesn't, I think that there is a lot of hesitation for that. So, and this is America, so no big deal, no hard feelings. But if it's not something that we feel like the town is interested in kind of driving, then I'm just not going to waste my remaining months working on it in my capacity as a select board member.
Okay. Do you want to take a straw poll over?
I guess I would tend to go with Matt. And if there's somebody in that space who's willing to pick this up, I think that's a little more efficient.
Yeah, I would echo that and just want to be cognizant of other things that would not get done in replacement of the pop-up. So probably not fully in support unless it's a private person handling it. Any other discussion? Does that give you what you need? Doug?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Under old new business, can we possibly, because I know it's not on the agenda, but do we have any flexibility to possibly talk about the town administrator job search under old new business?
Yeah, I think because a change in that came last night. I can update. We have, in our March 5th meeting, we, after the procurement process for the town administrator search firm, we did award a contract to Community Paradigm. That contract fee was $14,000 and required the finance committee to transfer those funds from our reserve fund to move forward. Last night at the finance committee meeting, they voted 3-0 to
3-1.
3-1.
sorry, thank you. 3-1 to not make that transfer. So there is, they've kind of blocked our ability to move forward with this search firm unless I don't know what other funding source we could pull from, but I have spoke to our human resources manager and we have a few questions and I have to reach out to Community Paradigm, but we'll be moving forward with an internal search as a result of the finance committee, like I said, blocking our ability to move forward with that.
Right. So, Madam Chair, if I may,
Sure.
so it's, I believe it was sometime in December where Mr. Ward indicated that he wasn't going to be renewing his contract, right?
Correct.
So it's coming up in April. It sounds like, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but we still, some of the feedback we did get from some of the consultants or even just talking around people in this industry was that our salary right now is not very competitive. As of right now, we have not made any changes or gotten any approval to change that salary, correct? I mean, we were kind of depending
We-
on the consultant.
Yeah, we were, yep, exactly. We were
Okay.
hoping that once, that was part of the package
That was
of
part of
going
the
with a
package.
consultant for them to, not only to, help us with the search and provide their network, but also advise us as the path forward, on, what the market rate is for, the salary for this position.
Okay, so that path is no longer possible due to the vote last night. We cannot secure the funds to use that consultant.
Yeah, as far as I know, as of what I've learned today.
Correct. Now we can request our HR department to do a search, not a search, a salary study of town administrator. Look at similar demographic towns, and I mean, it's all public record. Should be able to research what some similar towns have for pay for a town administrator. I believe that would be in our HR department's purview and ability to conduct a study like that in a reasonable time frame. Would it not?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, currently it will need to be an internal search, so we'll
Right.
certainly be leaning on that department heavily to assist.
So the only question right now where we're at is, do we just move forward with the job search with the salary the way it is? Or do we ask our HR department to do our own internal salary study and then go back to FinCom, and when we have a recommended new salary range from this study, ask them to approve, we need their approval for the new salary range, correct?
Yeah, it would have to be factored into the next, fiscal year, but yeah, I do believe that they are in, they will need to approve that.
Okay,
I think, no, we determined with the personnel board that, it's not in the salary grid. That's an independent contract, so. It'll
correct.
just be the
But-
finance.
So, right, so we have the freedom to state the salary range, but we need FinCom to make sure that the money is in the budget. Is that a fair way to summarize it?
Yeah, based on what I know right now, yes.
Okay, that's the way I understand it too. So, I mean, what do we think would be a reasonable time frame? I mean, just, and keep in mind one thing, like I understand using the consultant for the search. I was not really in favor of using the consultant for the salary just because I knew that it was going to be some time before we were able to get them approved. I think that's something we probably could have at least got the salary squared away earlier. Can we have a quick discussion on like what we think, and maybe if our head of our HR department would be willing to speak to this, like what would be a reasonable time frame to conduct a salary study like this? Like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
I don't
month?
know.
Well, I think referring to it as a salary study
Yeah,
versus
it's just a
just doing it like,
research.
exactly.
Yeah,
Whatever. I mean, yeah, we don't have to split the atom. All
Yeah.
we need to do is just get a reasonable idea of what the market rate is for a town administrator for a similar town demographics. And just put a range. I mean, a range by definition is kind of loose, right? It doesn't have to be down to the penny. So I don't think that this should be, I think it would make sense for the HR department to do it independently. So that way, like, we're not involved in, we can't be accused of putting our influence into what the salary should be. But I don't want to minimize this, but I do kind of feel with some phone calls and a couple online services that can be used to kind of gauge salary, I think we should be able to come up with a reasonable range in 1 or 2 weeks. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that this is like I don't think we need like a big study for this, but more than willing to listen to the experts.
fortunately,
If I may.
please do. Thank
I
you.
agree. So to conduct a salary study of that magnitude requires identifying what those towns and what those demographics are that we're going to be using to compare our salaries to, or in comparison to these other communities. I've been trying to pull some stats just using our online sources, and we don't have anything listed beyond 2023. Right now, there are various municipalities requesting information from other towns,
And so far, the town of Clinton has been the only one responding to a lot of these because we're actually looking for that data back. That's the exchange. So 2 weeks would be probably enough to narrow down which towns we want to look at. Ideally, a month to do the research to see who can get back to us with what their salaries are for the current and following fiscal year if the contract is available. But in the climate as it is right now, I would say a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks just to evaluate that.
Okay.
So in regards to selecting the towns, I mean, haven't we done enough recent studies over the last like 3-4 years that have selected towns? We've done salary studies. Can't we use a previous salary study that was only done? Like, what about the non-union,
The Collins Center?
the Collins Center study? I mean, and it's only like, what, three years ago? I mean, have we shifted that much in 3 years from the towns that they selected for that study?
I'm unable to verify what the metrics were that were used to compare these towns. I've been trying to do so since I started here in December. And I'm not able to verify that or the previous study through HRIS. So at the moment, I've been comparing our cherry sheets with other towns, getting the EQV, getting our per capita stats, just to figure out where I can find one correlation. And I may have found something. And it does bring us closer in terms of population and EQV, but they are vastly different towns within the county and abutting towns.
So just to clarify, there's not an obvious correlation between the previous salary study towns and Clinton.
Nothing that I could come up with.
So wait a minute. So we're saying this Collins Center that the town paid to do the salary study. Now we're saying that the towns that they used, we have no data to back up that they were actually comparable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm about ready to just do like a Google search for like town administrator, like how much they cost, and like call it a day, because we can't afford to
Yeah.
wait. We can't afford to wait 8 weeks. If that's the answer, that we have to wait 8 weeks to get an answer on what a reasonable range is for a town administrator, then we might as well just start moving forward with the salary that we have now and figure it out later.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So if you happen to watch last night's meeting, there you'll see the sentiment of FinCom on updating the town administrator salary to something competitive. They weren't willing to put up the $14,000 to do the consultant. So I think by spending time doing a salary search, if it was going to take 6 to 8 weeks, you would still have to go back to FinCom,
Right.
for that adjustment.
Right.
And
I want to
I'd
hear
be
them
willing to
say.
bet that they would not be willing to do it. So
I want to hear them. I want to hear them say that they're not willing to.
how long are you willing to wait? 6 to 8
We
weeks?
we can start the search now and in parallel try to increase the salary. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt us.
I mean, in my own opinion, I would think we do the internal search through HR. You post it at the current salary. You see what you get, and if there's a candidate who may, who's desirable but may require an adjustment, then you can go to FinCom. But I don't want to wait for FinCom to do anything because I just don't have any confidence in that board right now.
That's fair enough. And maybe they are trying to obstruct the search, but then the one way we'll be able to find out is by posing a salary range to them. And if they refuse to accommodate a market salary, then I think the community will see that they're clearly just trying to obstruct the search, which my suspicion is from refusing to allocate funds for a consultant that we've used on multiple searches over the last couple of years that we've had a lot of great success with. I'm suspicious that they are just trying to obstruct the search, but I think we have nothing to lose by taking some time to come up with a salary. And we understand that it's not going to be as down to the penny as it would be if we hired like a professional consultant group. But again, I think we're getting too hung up on like splitting the atom when it comes to the salary. I think we just need to have an idea. Like, we know that the salary that we have now is not competitive. So we have nothing to lose by just taking a couple weeks to get something that we can say we base our decision on and going back to FinCom and asking them, will you guys approve this? I'd like to hear them say no.
They said no last night. Just,
They did.
just
We
to be
never,
clear.
no, we
You
did
weren't-
not,
No,
we did
no
not.
offense, but you weren't there.
No, I know I wasn't there. Did anyone propose a salary to them?
No, we
No.
were just,
Nobody proposed a salary.
well,
Couldn't get the
we,
14
we,
grand.
They wouldn't go for the search.
they would, yeah, and we were planning, the search process was hoping to identify the salary, so now.
What they're gonna say is they're just not in favor of using the consultant, in which they.
No, that's not what they said last night.
If you go back and watch it, there's numerous times the salary is brought up and their opinion on the salary. So.
Make them vote it down.
They did.
Don't
also-
go into, this is the most important position at the town. And we're gonna move forward now with a less than competitive market, a less than competitive salary, just because FinCom pushed us around a little bit. I mean, ask them, make them publicly say that they're not gonna raise the salary to a competitive.
Go
We have
watch-
nothing
We
to
can
lose.
do that on
Watch
Tuesday.
it.
Let's do it on Tuesday then. Let's.
I was gonna say,
Seriously,
Yeah,
we can make, we're meeting with them almost every week for
Yes.
the next month,
Perfect.
so.
Yeah.
We can request that they add that to the agenda and we can have, a
Madam Chair,
discussion about
Oh,
it,
yeah.
but we can kind of approach it, I
Go
think, in a couple.
Go, no, you go, Sharon. Go ahead.
just based on last night and conversations I've had with members of the community outside this phone calls and other conversations, I'm more concerned with the incorrect narrative that's going around about how we came to this point. As Ed said, on December 18th, Michael told us he's going to step down from the position of town administrator at the end of his contract term in June of 2025. We keep getting asked to change our mind or to do undo something we did. There's nothing done from this board. I've known Michael for more than 30 years. I admire him. I enjoy working with him. And I imagine that this decision was very difficult to make. I respect that decision. And I'm moving forward because we need a new town administrator. I strongly urge the rest of this town to do the same because we're not going backward. And this has to happen, whether we like it or not. So last night's stunt, all it did was slow it down and probably
we'll diminish.
ensure that the search is going to be less than optimal.
Yep.
So if that's what people want, that's fine. We have a job to do. So I strongly urge you to get on board because we need to move forward.
The worst
I
they
mean,
can say, the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
That's
All right, well, we can,
Can I just have one more?
yeah,
Can we look to move forward and have this other route?
Yes.
And also like that way
Yeah.
it's,
I think that's what we should do.
but we have to.
Yep.
An absolute
No, I
imperative.
hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Go into the meeting thinking that they're gonna shoot it down, because that's the behavior that's been displayed thus far. But you never know unless you ask. And
And to your point, you don't want to assume they will say no. We'll have,
I mean,
go on the record. I mean, we'll give,
I'm thinking
let
they're
them
gonna say no. I think everybody.
yeah, I mean, I think, but we'll give them as opposed to hearsay, we'll just give them the opportunity to be very clear about
Exactly.
it. I mean, this search firm helped us with the search for a police chief and a DPW superintendent and assistant town administrator, but for some reason, they're not interested in funding it for the most important position in town. So,
and just a note, in all fairness, it wasn't the entire FinCon,
correct.
right?
Yep.
The chair of
Yes.
FinCon was supportive of the endeavor, and there were two members that were not there. So I'm not sure how they would go either way, but it was not the entire committee.
okay. So you and I meet to put together an internal hiring plan. I'll request from the FinCom committee chairperson to add to their agenda for Tuesday, a discussion or a request for salary range for the town administrator.
So just one point of clarity, Madam Chair. So are we looking to go into this Tuesday to put that on the agenda that we, with FinCom?
Yes.
Yes. I think we can have a range. I don't think we have
Okay.
enough.
Test the waters.
Enough
Yeah, that's-
information.
That-
I mean, we had an entire a triple board meeting for me to tee up this exact topic, probably a month ago, in preparation for this exact same issue.
Mhm.
No one has asked me any questions. No one asked me for points of clarification. No one had really did too many questions at that particular meeting. So I think they were well aware of the asks that were coming. And they've made a choice. So, I mean, we'll just continue to try and work this out as best we can. And
Yeah,
And it's worth noting too that not all members of FinCom were available that when we had the three groups together, which also was similar to the ALS situation. So there's that.
okay.
so we think though that we'll have a rough salary range for this Tuesday, or I guess what I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
or do we want, I'm willing, I think we could wait like a week if we're meeting with them every Tuesday.
Go Tuesday.
What's that?
Go Tuesday.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, the 25th, the 1st.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I can use previous data for it. The 6 to 8 weeks is for a survey, to conduct a full survey.
Okay.
We can use the data that's available to us, but we'll have to skew it.
Okay. Fair
Okay.
enough. Yeah, I mean,
Thank you for
We're-
that
we're-
clarification.
thank you. And I don't mean to give you a hard time. but we've kind of been handcuffed a little bit by that decision last night. We're trying to do the best with the cards that have been dealt. We're trying to do what's best for the town. I don't know what FinCom's trying to do. So let's meet with them on Tuesday. And I think their reaction to our request for a market value salary for the town administrator will be an insight into their motives of if they really are trying to work with us or if they're just trying to sabotage this whole search.
It sounds like a plan. All right. Thank you for stepping forward. All right. Next up is committee reports.
We have to do something for the building inspector? Is that why he's here?
No, I don't know.
Wasn't that an email?
Yeah. Building inspector is,
Building commissioner reclassification? Am I wrong?
that's not on the agenda.
I know. I thought you mentioned that in the email.
Oh, I did, but
Okay.
Yeah, well, last night the personnel board met and they did reclassify the building commissioner position
oh, they did.
to the next grade up. So now the next step would be I would work with HR and reach out to the candidate and see if we could come up with a offer that we can then agree upon. And then ultimately, as a department head position, will come back to this board for review or, for notice,
Sorry,
once it's
That's right.
finalized.
We don't have to do anything for that right now.
No.
Okay. Thank you. All right, committee reports?
Nothing from me.
No. Okay. Then we have no community announcements.
There's just one thing that I
Oh,
wanted
sorry.
to throw out there. That was part of the packet. So the Clinton Greenway Conservative Trust looks to be having a spring plant sale on May 10th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Sterling Street Brewery. So I didn't, that was in there. I mean, I know that's a little
Yeah.
way off, but
Oh, yeah, we'll add it to an agenda as it gets closer, but save the date for the cleanup on, was it 26th?
May 10th. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
you're right. You're right.
The cleanup on April 26th and the plant sale on May 10th.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I make a motion that we move the executive session for the fire union contract ahead of the executive session for the grievance hearing?
I think,
So we-
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do we have to make a motion?
Is Nick here for the grievance too, or no?
Right. Yeah, just going to give a brief update. There's no.
Okay.
It was just, it's very,
Yeah,
Have to stay through.
okay.
I'll second the motion if that's how we have to do it.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye, opposed? 5-0. Okay, so, right now we're going to be moving from open session to a closed executive session to two closed executive sessions to discuss the step 3 grievance hearing, IAFF Local 3189. And then a second one with the fire union negotiation, update.
Madam Chair.
We will not be returning to open session following those
Yeah,
executive
that's why.
sessions.
I'm selfish.
Oh, I
but
thought you'd
we
be
just-
nice to Nick.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm glad that that's a side benefit.
Huh.
But just the order, I think
Gotcha.
you just read the order.
Okay,
So you
let me
two-
start over. Okay. Moving from open session to closed executive session to discuss the fire union negotiation update, and then the step 3 grievance hearing, IAF local 3189. We will not be returning to open session. I'll accept a roll call to enter.
Ed Duvall, aye.
Sean Kerrigan, aye.
Julie Bruce, aye.
Clovis, aye.
Jerry Dicker.
Good night.